Hey guys, welcome to war number 4, and for this war we have an 11 fight war. So starting off, we get our first fight with Moleman. The plan here, use the exhaustion debuffs to feed monster mass, throw a heavy, block a hit, throw L2s, and just throw L2s till the fight is over, and you'll see what happens. Here, it's just a miss parry. I'm not quite sure if that is me or maybe the new update being buggy, but either way, we missed the parry, not a big deal. And then we're just going for this heavy, hoping she immediately goes for hitting into my block, and she does, and we rip off this L2, and as you can see, Moleman is just being silly, and it's just back to back to back to back L2s. You love to see it, and then this first hit will just kill. Very quick fight with Moleman. Now for this Nova with Doom, the main thing to keep in mind is just heavy hitter. We want to throw our special 3 for damage, but really we don't need to worry about much of anything during this fight. And, the main thing is just keeping heavy hitter in mind and not being stupid, which is easier than it, which sounds easier than it is. And yeah, and I like to go in for that dex after that to make the second one feel a little better. Kind of just my own weird thing. Definitely don't have to do that, but I like to do it. And yeah. After we throw this L3 with the Fury, we will get a good chunk of damage. Gotta wait for him to actually give me the power, of course. But yeah, as you can see, we rip off this L3. It's going to deal most of his health, and the fight will be over. Now for this Apocalypse, we want to throw L2s until he gets Incinerate immunity, and that will do a good portion of damage, and other than that, it's just a long fight with keeping Power Alternator in mind. I'm not going to be going for any special dexes or anything here, really, because you just don't need to, since it's Doom. And yeah, just taking this fight slow. Again, keeping Heavy Hitter in mind. Very easy fight, though. And here we face our first ever R4 defender. And I don't know what went in my mind going into this fight, but I just messed up the strategy so absolutely horribly. He got an L2 with Aura of Hazareth. There were so long into the fight until I actually got a Fury off of my L3, which is ridiculous. Like, every other time I've taken this, I've done it pretty much close to flawlessly. And in this fight, I just played so horribly. Already, like, off to a bad start there with getting the L1 resist. And I was just not in the vibe of this fight at all. I was very confident going in, and then I just messed up. I thought I got a dex there, but I guess I dexed way too early. And yeah, just not off to a great start. But there's a lot of time in this fight, so I wasn't too worried about timing out, or at least I thought there wasn't going to be too much of a worry of timing out. So I was just taking this fight slow. And this fight does have Mystic this version 5, of course. So when he throws this L1, and he throws this L1 so much in this fight, he's going to get pushed above an L2. But it's fine, because during Aura of Hazareth, we're free to throw a 4-hit light combo, and it'll drain him right back below the L2. This is important for keeping in mind later in the fight, because something happens with this that you guys saw in the thumbnail. But yeah, I'll just let you guys watch this because it's a bit of a long fight, and I'll come back with some commentary when the thing happens. And here we go. He throws this L1, but instead of being at a long duration in Aura of Hazareth, my Aura of Hazareth immediately runs out. And I was like, fuck. And we just have to dodge the L2. So I immediately backed off to give myself good spacing to go ahead and dodge that L2. And we finally get our first Fury L3, which is ridiculous that it's this late in the fight. And that we don't even have like a full cycle to go with it. But now we're pretty comfortable that now that we have that Fury, we're not gonna timeouts. Very, very long fights, but again, not a timeout at least. And that's all I'm really worried about in this fight, is not dying. And yeah. At this point, we're going to throw another L3 with this Fury active. We're not going to bother dexing, because if we did dex, the Fury would have expired, and we would have gotten one Fury anyway. And with this way, we still get one Fury after the L3. And yeah, we're just going to finish this fight off. We're going to throw an L3 after this, and it'll kill him. And yeah, that's the fight. Definitely a bit of a nail-biter. Definitely horrible strategy going into this fight. I've done it so many times before, so I don't know why I did such poor strategy, but yeah, not my cleanest of fights. Just have this Mixmaster Mordo. We've got a White Mags pre-fight, which I kind of forget halfway through the fight, and I'm still like baiting heavies and everything, since I'm so used to doing this fight without the White Mags pre-fight. But yeah, we're popping on an Invuln and a special 3 defense boost. This comes in handy. Always like to pop special 3 defense boosts and Invulns against Mordos here. And yeah, we're just going to keep in mind that he can block my unblockable specials and not bother with any of that nonsense. And yeah, pretty quick and easy fight. I definitely think Doom is the best option here. And now we have a Hercules on Rage. I don't really understand this placement if I'm being honest. Basically, any of your normal Rage counters will work for this fight. Doom, Claire, Sorcerer Supreme, G99, any of them will work. You just don't want to use someone that never works for Rage. So I don't really get this placement, but we're just going to Doom it. I think maybe they thought Hercules wasn't like Doom friendly because he goes stun immune. But as you'll see, it kind of just doesn't matter for Doom. And you can see our medium crits triggering Rage. Not a big deal. We just have to keep the Infuriate in mind for when we're actually able to nullify. Because when he doesn't have Infuriate, you're able to nullify normally. But when he has Infuriate, your ability accuracy is lowered. But we definitely get enough openings to nullify that it's not a big worry. Now, for this Emma Frost fight, the basic strategy is to just throw L2s when she's in her telepath form, or using the L2s to push her to her telepath form, and we're going to be baiting L1s and blocking them. She didn't ever end up getting an L2, so that wasn't a worry here. And yeah, just a very, very easy fight with Doom. Prof here with Untouchables. It's definitely a little bit of a tricky fight to get going, but once you're in the mojo for this fight, you just pop an L3 with the Mystic Power Booster. After that, you will pop an L2 and the fight will be over. Professor X has a really low health pool, so you can take full advantage of Mystic Power Boost here, and we are boosted, like, very highly. So we're going to be dealing a lot of damage to this Professor X. And, if he does end up clipping me or anything like that, he's not going to be able to deal a lot of damage back. We do want to keep the Falter and Untouchables in mind. And, of course, always keeping the mind control in mind. But, yeah, not a big worry here. Now here we have a 53 bishop. I mean, not a 53, 50 bishop. I played this fight quite poorly. First, we're just checking the sig to make sure. I did look at the profile, and it wasn't in his profile, and he had fairly low prestige, the guy who was placing this. So I figured it was quite low sig, and I'd be fine to red Hulk it. But yeah, we just want to bait L1s and not do that. Don't want to hit into the block. I'm just so used to doing that, and we hold block to get rid of that. But I keep doing this for whatever reason. Very dumb, but yeah, here he gets rid of all my indestructible charges, so I'm already on edge, but the rest of the fight goes quite smoothly, just as it normally would, even if I messed up and lost my invuln charges immediately. The 53 buck would have at the origin. This fight goes very smoothly this time. The basic strategy: throw those L2s with Mystic Power boosters, Stun Reflection, and all of the extra boosts and everything. You'll be dealing a whole lot of damage, and it'll give you more power back from Polka Power as well with the Incinerates. And yeah, you just want to focus on getting to those L2s. This can include from throwing L1s to Power Seal, and yeah. And if you can avoid her throwing your special one, it doesn't really matter because you can hit into the evade. And when you hit into the evade, she can't counter because Black Widow Deadly Origin is enabled to counter after her evade. So it basically just gives you free willpower, but it will slow down the fight considerably. So if possible, you want to avoid that. And yeah, here we get a really nice 33k heavy crit against her, which is just very nice. I was trying to throw my L1, and she threw her special first. Doesn't matter since it's Doom, but you know I did mess that up. So, but again, it's Doom. Nothing really matters in this fight. It's a very easy and safe fight. Could have probably finished this quicker than I did if I just threw that there, but we have a sub 90-second fight here. So nobody is going to be complaining with that fight duration, unlike most of my Doom fights. Very quick fight. Quite like that fight. Now for this Mr. Fantastic, we just don't want to lose our true accuracy here with Moleman. We're not too worried about damage or anything like that. Just keep up the true accuracy, and you'll be fine. It's a fairly quick fight, even if you're out of Frenzy the whole fight. So yeah, just keeping up that true accuracy. There is one point where it does get a little bit funky with all the debuff shrugging, and I do have to back up. Thankfully, Brute Force doesn't trigger during that point, but still did get a little bit tricky, and I did have to play a little smarter there. And yeah, that's going to be it for this war. 11-0 for this war, and now we're at 35-1 for the season. Strong first third of the season, so hopefully we can play well and finish the season cleanly.